Good morning, vinyl community. Happy Sunday. It's a nice early Sunday morning here in Tennessee. Sitting here enjoying some coffee. Thought I'd jump on real quick, talk to you guys for a minute. Before I get started, I want to thank all you guys for last week. Man, that Kiss Solo episode I did, it's killing it. I'm so surprised. I've got almost 700 views on that record, on that episode in a week, which is by far my biggest episode. So I want to thank all of you out there for the support. It's totally blown my mind. So I really appreciate everybody who clicked on and commented and watched and everything else. It's amazing. And, I'm over 200 followers or 200 subs now, and everything's so cool. You guys have been so supportive. I really, really appreciate it. All right, well, I'm going to just talk about what I picked up for the month of, October. What I picked up in October. How is that? That's right, it's November already. Can you believe it? Almost Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So in September, I got my first Tubes record. I don't know if you guys remember that, if you want to go back to that or not. Picked up Outside Inside because of She's the Beauty. Great record. I liked it so much I went out and bought some more. So that starts November or October. Shit. Okay, I will get this right. I got these in October. Okay. So I picked up the Tubes Young and Rich. I ordered this because, like I said, I had bought Outside Inside I bought it because She's a Beauty's on there. That's why I bought it. I saw that at the record store, my local record store here, and I liked that record so much I wanted to see what else they sounded like. So here's Young and Rich, which is their second album from 1976. And it's on the old A&M. And I'm not going to go over the songs on these because unless you're a Tubes fan, I mean, honestly, they only had one real hit, and that is She's a Beauty. But man, I was so blown away by this record. They're very kind of like avant-garde. This album is. It's very sort of avant-garde sounding, sort of an art rock type thing, very Bowie-esque. That's what I kept thinking when I was listening to it. It was like, sounds like something Bowie would have done back in the 70s. It's very cool stuff. It really is. I'm totally blown away by how good they are as a band. And when that came in the mail, this one also came in the mail, Now by the Tubes. This is their third album from 1977. Same thing, same kind of vibe. There's some electronic and stuff like that, but it's still very, very cool, very Bowie type sounding. Honestly, if you played them, some people might think it was Bowie. I mean, that's kind of what I got from it. I'm not saying they sound exactly like Bowie because they got slightly different, sounds and more to it. You can see the band has a lot more people than anything Bowie ever did. So it's got a lot of different types of sounds. It's very big sounding. Lots of things going on, but it just all fits together so well. And, their music and their lyrical content is, it's interesting. They were art students that became musicians, and you can hear it, and it sounds great. I mean, honestly, I'm in love with these guys right now. So those came in the mail. The next ones I picked up at the record store. I picked up this Eurythmics album, Revenge, 1986. This is their sixth album overall, and this finishes my Eurythmics collection. I did the same thing that I've done with the Tubes when I did with the Eurythmics. You buy it. I bought Sweet Dreams or whatever because of the songs that I knew from back in the day, and I've become a fan. I really like the Eurythmics too, and this gives me every one of their early records anyway. So what usually happens, I go back to these bands that in the 80s that I kind of ignored, buy some of their music, and I go through an era. And if they take a break for 10 years or whatever, I don't usually pick up what's after that. And I might be missing out, I might not. But this finishes that early classic Eurythmic stuff. Other than I don't have the soundtrack to the movie 1984. When I see it, I'll buy it, but I'm not really going to go search it out on the internet. So because it is a soundtrack, and I'm not sure what it's going to be. So, but this is pretty good also. This is the one that's got Missionary Man on it. It's a pretty cool record. They're the Eurythmics. I like them a lot too. You know, it's surprising that me growing up and being metal the whole time, and then getting into this 80s pop type, new wave, late 70s, early 80s type sound that I was aware of these bands, but I was never really into because we were metal guys, and going back and finding out how much I love that music. So, and yeah, so I mean, I've gotten a lot of that stuff, so it's really, you know, making the collection bigger, and it's a lot cheaper to buy too. I mean, you can really, I mean, those Tubes albums I bought were like $6 each. You know, you get them shipped to your house, you know, you spend $20 on 2 records. You can't really beat that price. All right, and the record store that day had this, Gojira, Les Enfants Sauvages from 2012. This is a 2021 repress. This is their 8th album overall. This is, if you're into Gojira, they're sort of, if you don't know Gojira, they're sort of a, I guess, kind of a progressive death metal, kind of melodic death metal at points. But don't think death metal like Cannibal Corpse. Think more, you know, like I said, more progressive, I guess you'd say. A very cool band, and I saw this in there, and this is, you know, streamed this plenty of times. This is one of those records I had to buy. So, like I said, this is 2021 repress of their 2012 album. This is a great record, great metal. If you guys like that type of stuff, Gojira. And at the same time, when I was there, they had Fortitude, which is their 11th album overall from 2021. I think this is their most recent album, and this is a really good record also. So I picked them both up. They were both there. I could not help myself. That was at the same time I bought that Eurythmics album, I bought those 2 Gojira records. And then as I'm looking through the used section at my record store, this came up. Let me take this out. This is Wasp. It's called Scream Until You Like It. It's from 1987. It is the theme of Ghoulies 2. And it's a picture disc. And it's only got 3 songs on it. It's got Scream Until You Like It on this side. There's the Ghoulies right there. And then side 2 has a picture of Blackie holding one of the bad guys, and there's Shoot from the Hip and Sleeping in the Fire Live is on side 2. It's a 45 picture disc. I had never seen this before. I didn't even really know it existed. As I'm scrolling through the used section, it's there. And when I first saw it, I'm like, that looks like Blackie Lawless. I thought maybe it was something else, and I pulled it out. I'm like, okay, that's Blackie Lawless. What's this? It was $16. So I had to buy it. You know, I'm a Wasp fan, always have been. Well, I'm an early Wasp fan. How's that? And I know I'm missing out on some of their later stuff, but, you know, trying to find it isn't always easy. But yeah, so $16 for that Wasp album, not too bad. So that was one week. Then the following weekend, I go back again because my record store and vinyl here in Clarksville, they'll post stuff. Look what, you know, stuff that came in or whatever. He'll post stuff on Facebook. I see the videos, and I saw this record that came in, and I called Tony, who's the owner, and said, hey, is that still there? Can you hold it for me till I show up? He's like, yep, no problem. So Lamb of God, Ashes of the Wake. This is from 2004. It's her 3rd album overall, and this is the 15th anniversary edition. It was repressed in 2019. I am a Lamb of God fan when it comes to out of the more modern, I'll say more modern metal bands, they're probably my favorite metal band. If you ever get a chance to see them live, go see them live. Randy Blythe is one of the coolest frontmans in metal. He's all over the stage, just awesome. I love this band, and I, you know, buy them when I find them. And I was just like, when I saw it, I called him, and he held it for me. So Lamb of God, Ashes of the Wake. This one's got, you know, this is, yeah, hang on. Well, it's got Break You and different types of, you know, See, I should know this shit right off the top of my head. That's why I'm surprised some of you guys laid to rest an Hourglass, and Now You Got Something to Die For, The Faded Line, all those songs. As a Lamb of God fan, this is a killer record. So, yeah, that was there. Couldn't help myself. Well, while I was there, because you can't help yourself. You can't just buy one record when you go to the record store, right? UFO Obsession was in the used section. It was $5. You can see the cover's kind of messed up. I didn't have any UFO. And I see you guys out there talking about UFO. And, I used to have Sirius XM, and I listened to Eddie Trunk, and Eddie Trunk would talk about UFO and how great they were. And I didn't have any UFO. So I had to go buy. I bought this. It was $5. I figured, what could go wrong, right? And, I can see why people like him. Michael Shakner on this record, great guitar player. I'm not going to talk about UFO a whole lot. I think Pete Way is the lead singer, if I remember correctly. But don't quote me on that because I could be wrong, and I don't need a bunch of comments saying, "Oh, you idiot! It's not Pete Way, it's somebody else." But I think it is Pete Way. But it was a little mellower than I expected, honestly. This is from 1978. This is their UFO 7th album overall. The guitar work is excellent. Don't get me wrong. The guitar work is excellent. And, lyrically, it's cool, but the record, to me, it was a little mellow, a little AOR type sounding, rather than I was expecting more of a pure rock sound, the way people talk about UFO. Maybe I need a different record. I don't know, but it was there, and it was $5. I see this one out there. I see people talking about this record, so I figured I couldn't go wrong for $5, and I'm not disappointed for $5, obviously. Now, if I would have spent $30 on it, I probably would have been disappointed. But it was good. Don't get me wrong, just not really my huge thing, I guess. I expected heavier music from the way people talk about UFO. But I did like it, just mellower than I expected. So then, I go back a couple weeks later, or towards the end of the month of October when I picked this up. Scrolling through, so I pick up Death, Human. This is from 1991. This is their 4th album overall. This is a 2020 repress. It's got a really cool splatter vinyl on there. These Relapse Records represses sound really, really good. It sounds excellent. It's the band Death. If you guys listen to them, you know what they're going to get. You know what they sound like. They're early death metal. So this is from 1991, their 4th album overall. And I first got into Death because I bought me a copy of Leprosy, basically on cover alone more than anything else. I used to belong to this Facebook group called Metal on Vinyl, and everybody was always showing the picture of the iconic cover of Death Leprosy. So I bought it. I liked it a lot, and I started buying other stuff. So I think this pretty much fills out my Death studio album collections since they've ended and and Chuck died and stuff. There's been lots of represses and some live stuff, and there's a record store day stuff. I pretty much bought it all. So very cool. Kind of a death metal sound. They kind of get credit for creating death metal, even though Chuck's always said we were just a metal band. They have some more of a thrashy type thing, but he does sing in kind of that deep sound, and it's really dark and doomy. Very cool record. This is the one a lot of death fans talk about as being their best record. I don't know if I can agree with that yet, not having given it a whole lot of spins and comparing it to the other records, but it was good. I liked it. So that was there. Like I said, that's the 2020 repress. And also, Turbo. I finally got me a copy of Turbo. 1986 US press. For $23, which I think is a pretty good price. And I did not have this record. Priest for me, I've been trying to fill up my Priest collection, like I said, until 3 years ago when I found those records in the dumpster. I did not even have any Judas Priest vinyl. So, and there was a bunch of them in that dumpster that day, and I just kept trying to fill it in and realizing how much I missed out on not owning Priest on CD or vinyl or whatever as I was younger growing up. When I was younger, I was into Maiden. And I had friends who were into Priest, and we would listen to Priest, and I wasn't against Priest, and we would see them live when they came to town or whatever, but I was into Maiden. I was, when it comes to that new wave of British heavy metal thing, I was into Maiden and, early Def Leppard and listening to Sabbath and stuff. So I never really got into Priest, not like got into them. I mean, we'd listen to them, obviously. They were everywhere. They were on MTV, and I had friends in high school who were also fans. So, but I've gotten into Priest over the last 3 years, and I saw this there. I figured for $23. And this is a great record, Parental Guidance and Song Turbo and stuff like that. It's a little more 80s popular. This comes out in 86. It's their 10th album overall. It's a little more of that 80s metal sound compared to some of their earlier stuff. But yeah, what a great band. I mean, honestly, it really is. I'm so glad I found all those Priest records and had to fill in the collection. I still got more to fill in because they have a huge discography. I don't know how far I'll continue to go. If you guys have any advice, like stop in the 90s or whatever, just let me know. If not, I'll just keep buying because I know I got to go with the next ones because this Painkiller and stuff like that's on there, and those are killer songs. So, but, I've been looking for this and finding it at a decent price. It sounded great. It was in really good shape. It covers kind of a little, but not bad. Also, at that time at the record store, I bought this, which is another album I've been looking for a long time. $16. Saturday Night Fever soundtrack in VG Plus shape, Records VG Plus. And when I played this, I mean, this is disco, and I don't really have any disco in this collection at all. But this record right here, I started playing it. I knew every song, and I went to like a flashback to childhood. This album comes out in 1977. At that point in time, I am 8 years old, and my mom had this on 8-track, and it was in constant rotation as I was growing up. For those 2 or 3 years, it was always in the car being played in the 8-track, always being played at home in the console, the big console player with the 8-track player and the record player and stuff. So I've been kind of looking for this, going in, asking Tony at the record store if he's gotten a copy in or whatever. And then he forgot to say, hey, I found this. It finally came in. I'll save it for you. I found this in the used section, in his newly arrived used section, and I grabbed it immediately. That and that Turbo record. And it's always the first section I go to when I walk in there, the newly arrived used section, to see what came in. So I grabbed it, and when I went to check out, Tony's like, oh, I'm surprised that's still there. It usually goes pretty quick. I'm like, yeah, remember I've been looking for it for months, asking you about it, and then when it came in, you didn't even think of me. Way to go. But, I just got to give him shit. That's all. So, but yeah, that record took me back to being 8, 9 years old and just hearing it over and over and realizing how great it is, honestly. I mean, I know it's disco, but that side one with the Bee Gees, mostly all Bee Gees music, just really good stuff, just iconic songs that we all know. And then came in the mail towards the end of the month, The Tubes 1975 debut album. Because, I'm on a Tubes kick, and I've got a couple more to get that'll be coming in here soon. Actually, they're kind of already here, but I didn't show up till November, so we're talking about records I picked up in October. So this is their debut album. I had to get that because after I got Young and Rich, and now their second and third album, it makes sense to go back and get the first one. So I ordered this on Discogs. I think it was $7 or $8, and played this. This is really good. This is their debut album. Very avant-garde, very weird. It goes into varying styles of music. You could tell it's very kind of art rocky and stuff. I was playing it. My kid was out here with me, and he's like, Dad, this is the weirdest shit I've ever heard. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's pretty fucking weird. And he's like, I like it though. And which is good coming from a 19-year-old who's into death metal and new metal. He's like, I like it. It's weird, but I like it. So, and this is a really good record. These guys were a really good band. I think they were slept on for their era. That was their debut from 1975. And since I ordered that, you order from Discogs, you might as well order more than one record because shipping is usually for most of these people is, from 1 to 3 items or something like that. You're not going to pay extra for shipping. And he had a copy of Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits. I want to say it was like $7. 1985, fifth album overall. This is one with Money for Nothing, stuff like that. Thing sold like 10 million copies or a billion copies or whatever it is. My kid loves this record. He'd been streaming this and listening to it anyway, and I've been kind of looking for that because if you're going to have, it's my first Dire Straits record. If you're going to have a Dire Straits album, you got to have Brothers in Arms. This is one of those, as record collectors, and one of those must-haves, so I finally have it picked up. I played it. It's really good. It's got all those cool songs on it, so, I mean, it's a great record all the way through and through. What can you say about Brothers in Arms that it hasn't already been said? So that's what I picked up for the month of October. The collection is getting bigger and bigger all the time. So I can't help myself. It's my addiction. It's my hobby. At least I'm not addicted to drugs anymore, right? Like I was, back in the day. I'll take the addiction to vinyl, even though I think sometimes my vinyl addiction may have been more expensive than my drug addiction. So, all right, well, that's all I got. I really appreciate, like I said, I really appreciate all you guys who popped on to watch me talk about the 1978 solo albums last week. We'll see. Like I said, I really appreciate all you guys out there. I want to throw a couple more shout outs. Just, Chris Profi, just a really nice guy. I was just commenting with him, and, there's always MGK, always, Pie Face, kind of a weird guy, but I do like him a lot. He plays a lot of death metal. You can check out his channel. There's the Black and Hymns channel. I mean, there's all these new to me guys out there. There are so many people. There are so many people who helped me out in the beginning. Anthony from Anthony Gambler, and I mean, there's too many to mention. I can't remember you all, but I really appreciate this community and what you guys have done and everybody's acceptance of each other. And it's just been really, really cool to be part of it. And I'm really enjoying myself. And thanks for just watching some old guy talk about what he bought for the month of October. So I will see you guys probably in a few days. There's a contest out there I think I might jump on. So, that'll probably happen in a couple of days. Or maybe later this afternoon. Who knows how bored I get. It is Sunday. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one, and we'll talk to y'all later.